Rain lashed against the windows of Detective Inspector Adrian Locke's office. He was a man of habit, comfortable in his slightly worn armchair, a cup of lukewarm tea forgotten on his desk. Years on the force had etched lines on his face, each one telling a story of a case solved, a criminal brought to justice. Tonight, however, a new story was about to unfold. The shrill ring of the telephone cut through the silence. Locke picked up the receiver, the voice on the other end urgent, clipped. "Murder, Inspector? Jonathan Reese? Found dead in his penthouse?" The voice paused, then added, "Poison, they think." Locke felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. He grabbed his hat and coat, the news stirring him into action. Every murder was a puzzle, a tangled web of secrets and lies, and Adrian Locke was a man who lived to unravel them. As he drove through the slick streets, the city lights blurring in the downpour, Locke couldn't shake the feeling that this case was different. This wasn't some back-alley brawl gone wrong. This was the death of a man at the pinnacle of his success, a man with everything to lose. The penthouse was a testament to wealth and taste, all sleek lines and panoramic city views. Yet the air hung heavy with the scent of lilies and the grim reality of death. Jonathan Reese, impeccably dressed even in death, lay slumped over his desk, a crystal glass fallen from his hand. A young constable, his face pale, pointed towards the glass. "Wine, sir, that's what they think it was." A forensic officer, his movements swift and practiced, was already taking samples, his expression carefully neutral. Locke studied the scene, his eyes missing nothing. The room was meticulously organized, almost sterile. There was no sign of a struggle, no forced entry. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a calculated, cold-blooded act. The poison was unusual, the forensic officer confirmed, something not easily obtainable. It spoke of a killer who knew what they were doing, someone who wanted Reese silenced permanently. Jonathan Reese, a name synonymous with success, ambition, ruthlessness even. He had built an empire from the ground up, his software company a titan in the tech world. But every empire has its secrets, and Locke knew that behind the polished facade there was more to Jonathan Reese than met the eye. Interviews with his staff painted a picture of a man driven, focused, and utterly private. He had no family to speak of, only business associates and acquaintances. His latest venture, a revolutionary new software, had just secured him a lucrative government contract. It was a deal that had made him enemies, rivals who saw him as an obstacle in their path. Could this be a motive for murder? Had Reese's ambition finally outstripped his better judgment, leading him into a world of danger and deceit? Locke was determined to find out. Vanessa Trent, Reese's business partner, was a woman of sharp intelligence and cool composure. She sat opposite Locke, her grief carefully controlled, her answers measured. She admitted that Reese had been acting strangely in recent weeks, withdrawn, almost paranoid. He talked about threats, she revealed, her voice barely a whisper. Said that people were watching him, that he wasn't safe. She produced a crumpled note, passed to her by Reese's secretary, found in his pocket. The note was brief, chilling. Scrawled in hurried handwriting were the words, "They know. It's too late. Who were they? And what was too late?" The note was like a whisper in the dark, hinting at a hidden danger, a conspiracy that ran deeper than Locke could have imagined. Locke's instincts were screaming at him. This wasn't just a case of business rivalry gone wrong. There was something more here, something sinister lurking beneath the surface. Section 5. The Assistant's Secret. Security footage from the night of Reese's death showed only one visitor to his penthouse, David Lang, Reese's personal assistant. Lang was a quiet, unassuming man devoted to his work. He seemed an unlikely suspect, yet the footage revealed something curious. Lang was seen handling the bottle of wine later found by Reese's body, his movements swift and deliberate. When questioned, Lang was visibly nervous, his hands trembling slightly. He claimed to have poured Reese a glass of wine, as he did every evening, but insisted he had worn gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints on the bottle, a habit he'd picked up from Reese, who was meticulous about cleanliness. Locke wasn't convinced. Lang's nervousness, his rehearsed answers, set off alarm bells. There was something he wasn't saying, some secret he was desperate to protect. Section 6. Hidden in plain sight. Back at Reese's office, Locke made a startling discovery. Hidden behind a seemingly innocuous painting was a wall safe, its contents a treasure trove of information. Inside, Locke found a small, unmarked server, its hard drive containing encrypted files. With the help of the police tech team, Locke was able to unlock the files, revealing a side of Jonathan Reese that was far from the public image. The files contained evidence of shady business dealings, offshore accounts, and links to organized crime. Reese had been living a double life, amassing his fortune through illegal means. The threats he had spoken of, the paranoia, it all began to make sense. He had been involved in something dangerous, something he could no longer control. Section 7. Revelations in the warehouse. Days later, an anonymous tip led Locke and his team to a derelict warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The tipster, their voice distorted by the phone, claimed to have information about Reese's murder, about David Lang. As Locke's team stormed the warehouse, they found Lang frantically trying to destroy a laptop and several hard drives, his face a mask of fear and desperation. Caught red-handed, Lang confessed to everything. He had been forced to poison Reese, blackmailed by the same criminal organization Reese had been involved with. They had threatened his family, Lang claimed, his voice breaking. He had no choice but to obey. The laptop and hard drives, he confessed, contained evidence that would have exposed the organization's activities, evidence that could bring them down. Section 8. The Weight of Truth. David Lang was arrested, his testimony leading to the arrest of several high-ranking members of the criminal organization Reese had become entangled with. The city was shocked to its core as the news broke, the seemingly untouchable Jonathan Reese revealed to be a fraud, his empire built on lies and deceit. Justice, it seemed, had been served. Yet as Locke closed the case, a profound sense of unease settled over him. He had uncovered the truth behind Jonathan Reese's murder, but in doing so he had also peeled back a layer of the city's facade, revealing a dark underbelly of corruption and violence that ran deeper than he had ever imagined. The case was closed, but for Adrian Locke the questions lingered. How far did this conspiracy go? And how many more secrets lay hidden beneath the city's glittering surface? Section 9. City of Secrets. The rain had stopped, replaced by a cold, clear night. The city lights twinkled like a million watchful eyes, each one holding its own secrets, its own stories of ambition, betrayal and deceit. As Locke drove away from the warehouse, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was not the end. It was merely the beginning. He had glimpsed the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of his city, a darkness that whispered of power and corruption, of lives lived in shadow. And Adrian Locke, the detective who had spent his life seeking the truth, knew that some secrets were best left buried, but some secrets, like the ghosts of the past, refused to remain silent. And Adrian Locke, a man haunted by his own demons, was drawn to those whispers, compelled to seek answers in the heart of the city he had sworn to protect. The case of Jonathan Reese might be closed, but for Detective Inspector Adrian Locke, the hunt for truth was far from over.